This episode of the podcast is brought to you by our friends at Track Farms and their awesome CBD products. Andrea and I are about to be doing a bunch more driving. We have a lot of travel planned, and the one thing that I know I feel good about this time on our drive is that I will have my CBD oil right there with me in the car so that when my back starts screaming because it hates a long drive, I will feel just fine. And that is the awesome thing that CBD oil can do and has done for me, specifically Track Farms. And I've said it on the podcast once, I've said it a million times. It matters where you get your CBD from, and for me, the best I've found is with Track Farms. So go and check it out and try it out. These guys make some great stuff. It is track-farms.com/strangers, and use the code STRANGERS at checkout. You will get 15% off that order. Enjoy yourself some CBD. All right, shall we do it?
Okay, sure.
Okay. Michael Waite, welcome to the podcast. Thank you very much for being here.
Well, thank you, Tyler. It's an honor to be part of it.
I'm pleased to be here. The UP has been a lot of fun, and we've been here for about a week, hanging out. And then today, we've met up on the top of a mountain, which is a lovely idea of yours, and very much goes along with the things that you're about. And Andrea and I drove up here. I thought I might die at certain points on the drive up here. If I'm being honest, it was pretty steep. It was pretty rocky, but you know, the 4-wheel drive came through, and I'm here. I'm alive in one piece. Thank goodness. Thank goodness.
Yeah.
So Michael, you are a musician in the area, and I found you because you've been doing all of these outdoor concerts that you've been live streaming, which I think is a really cool thing. How did you get started doing that? Was that because of COVID, or was it just something you've been doing for a while?
It's something I guess I've thought about a little bit here and there over the years. I mean, as a way of playing music on the internet, it's a neat idea, and I guess I've kind of been toying with it for a while. But of course, since all the cancellations of shows this year, it kind of pushed it right up to the front. There's a couple things that make it work for us. Well, for one thing, of course, you don't have to travel, but but also where we built our house is it's off the grid, you know, in more ways than one, including cell service. Like there's very poor reception there, so
Okay.
one way we can get good reception is to go up this hill that's, you know, maybe a half a mile from our house, and right on the next mountain that's across the way is a tower, so we can beam our signal to that and do this kind of thing. And not only that, but it is one of my favorite spots to go to, this place. So it's kind of a nice way to share it with everybody without having all the, you know, I wouldn't be able to actually have a show up there
Right.
because of parking and
Yeah.
erosion and all that kinds of things.
Well, I think that's the best thing about any type of digital media that you're doing is you can bring people to exactly wherever you want them to be. I mean, we can do this podcast here, which took a little finagling to get all the pieces together. I think hopefully on the video people will be able to see my setup, which is a tripod strapped around a mic stand. We're making it work today, though.
Yeah.
It's going to keep falling on me. You're more than welcome to pull on
Okay.
your stand if you need to get more comfortable or whatever.
Thanks.
Well, what was I going with? Oh, yeah. But it's such a great thing that you can just bring people to the place you want them to be. And you couldn't have 100 people up there with you, but you can have 100 people enjoying this music right on that mountaintop. And I love how you guys it seems like you're always building a fire, too. You, like, really make an evening of this with the other performers that are there with you. It seems like that was important to you, that be part of the experience.
Yes. I mean, yeah, part of the problem that we're facing is the community engagement that's happening, or that is not happening. And I have so many friends that and people who I don't know that well, even in our community, but would like to get to know better. And so this sort of thing allows us to, I don't know, have a nice experience, not just you know, not just play music. And so I don't know. I guess that's just like to look at performances that way in general because it's not a one-sided thing or a two-dimensional thing, I guess is what I'm trying to say. It's more like an atmosphere that I want to project when we're doing a show, that to let people know that we're all connected, and I think part of that is just feeling connected with yourself, including your stomach and everything. We bring food up there, and we bring
hopefully a couple beers too.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, it's I get what you're saying too, because there is more than that two dimensions to a performance. It's not really just performer and audience. There's something where you're actually together in one space too. Everything about the environment can affect that performance, and affect how people perceive it and how the performer performs. And I think it's the same reason why. So I've only recently started adding video into these podcasts, but I'm really passionate about podcasts, and I feel like I continually go to the coolest places to meet people, and I have to describe it to them in audio, the cool place I'm sitting.
Uh-huh.
I'm like, oh yeah, here I'm up on this mountain. And that feels like a poor comparison to the fact that I could just bring my GoPro and just set it up. It's not that much extra effort. And now you can be on the mountain with us. There's something different there. And I think people are attracted to it. I think you're surprised at the fact that people barely seem to hang on for 7 seconds of reality TV, but they will watch a 3-hour podcast of two people sitting in a room if it's the right room. I mean, I just think people, it just expands what we'll engage with when you add another element.
Yeah, no, that's the truth, and the visual brings a lot of things together.
You guys have had other artists up there with you too, and I think one of the ones I saw, someone was doing yoga, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, yeah, Dandelion Sunshine. She was doing yoga. I think that was 2 weeks ago. I don't know. Was that last week? Sorry.
You've been doing a lot. Do you have one tonight too?
Yes, we do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that out at your place?
That'll be out at our place. Yep. And featuring Bud Clowers as a drummer that I've been playing with for years here in town, and also my son Moses, who's just recently graduated high school, and a few of his buddies are going to be singing, backup singing. So it'll be pretty funny, I think.
That's
see
cool.
how they do it.
I don't. So this episode comes out. Unfortunately, I can't promote that for you because this comes out next week. But do you have other things on the calendar that you have coming up you're excited about?
Well, it's getting cooler, so we can only be outside for so long. So I'm been spending my evenings and weekends fixing up a space in our house, and I'm crossing my fingers that it's going to work to hook up an antenna. I've kind of assembling this crazy idea of a bunch of pipe and things, and I'm going out on the roof to try to get 25 feet up.
Jeez.
And
you're climbing up like up ladders up have you built some sort of scaffolding or?
No, I mean our roof it's not a real heavy pitch or anything, but it's like a 6 or something like that. But I'm just, the tricky part is lifting this. I've got a few pieces of galvanized pipe to join together, and then I'm gonna drill a hole in the roof and just tilt that up. So I don't know. I think I'll be able to lift that and tilt it up. And then the other thing is, it's not really that dicey, I guess. But the other thing is, once it's up there, I hope I can reach that cell phone antenna, because we get some signal on the roof, and I have an antenna. Then I'm going to put on top of that one of those, directional antennas that they use for cell phone boosters. And then there's a booster to mount inside the attic. So hopefully this is all going to work.
Have you tested this outside before you started drilling holes in the roof?
Well, I mean, I've been
just outside the house,
just on the roof.
Okay.
There, just and there is some signal up there,
Okay.
so it's worth doing. We do have a smaller booster up there now that we use, and it works for most general things you do with a phone, but it not for live streaming video like that. It's too much for it to handle. So hopefully this will work. We're gonna try it.
Yeah. So you're serious. I need to. I get in my head. So the last episode I did, or 2 episodes ago, my recorder stopped recording on me. So now I'm incredibly paranoid that
Oh,
things will stop. But I just want to make sure the GoPro was actually going. Because what if I did all that nice talking about how we've got the GoPro now, and then I end up not having the. Hey, Andrea, that's recording, right? That's recording, right? I didn't see the red light on it. No, I believe you. Now she has to double check it. For people just listening, Andrea's on the other side of the camera, like writing on her laptop in the woods, clearly having a nice time. This is a lovely day. We're good, yeah? Okay. Thank you. Okay, I'll be done being paranoid, everybody. So your place is off grid. What's and you mentioned in a number of ways, and like for most of us, I really don't function very well without internet connection. I can't really work. I can't really do a lot of the things I need to do. So how what's the reason for you for being so far off grid? Is that just a natural state for you? You don't want to be in the mix of it all the time, or what's the attraction there?
there were a few reasons we moved out there. We moved out there quite a few years ago. I guess it was originally 2002 when we moved out there. So it's we just found this piece of land. It's very pretty. There's a creek going through it, and yeah, I guess Erica, my wife, and I are kind of private people, and we love nature, and so we've always kind of found a home in wild places, and we fell in love with this place. And there's something of a community out there too. We have neighbors that are of a similar mind and doing things their own way. Kind of, we have a neighbor that has a pottery studio out there, and yeah. So it's not that we don't like people or something. It's just we really do enjoy being out in nature, and
Yeah.
figured that was a way we could do it, and set up our own space. And I don't really recommend it for everybody because there's
Why not?
there's a lot of things that you might take for granted if you live in a town, like I don't know. I mean, some of them are kind of silly, maybe like garbage collection or whatever. But
Oh yeah.
I mean, it's not a big deal. But every couple of weeks, I have to drive. I kind of come to enjoy it, but because it's like an hour, I take a little ride to the transfer station and listen to the radio. But the winter gets kind of difficult. We live down a dirt road that's not maintained by the county, and so we have a neighbor that we depend on with his tractor, and that can there can be situations where we are stuck, or we're just getting out is stressful.
Right.
And so that's and then just the process of doing I'm just kind of stubborn, I guess. I've kind of done everything on my own, and plus I mean it's cheap to do it that way. But I have a curiosity about everything, and I want to know how everything works, I guess.
Like what kind of stuff?
Well, just like anything.
Like
And
specifically the homesteading kind of.
I wanted to build this house, and I didn't really want to hire people to do anything. I mean, partly, of course, it was to save money, but also I want to know like what's in those walls. I don't know.
Yeah.
In fact, when I first started, I kind of thought it would be cool if we had the pipes outside of the wall, because I just have this problem with things being concealed and nobody knows what they are. There's so much of
Mm,
that. And it's kind of nice if a house, I just for the record, I didn't do that. You're not looking at the pipes, at least not very much. I
sure.
mean, but I just it ends up spending a long time. All these different trades um, have a lot of tricks that they learn, a lot of different skills that may not be. They may make it look easy, but when you're actually doing it, it takes quite a bit longer than hiring someone.
Right. Did you build the whole thing yourself then?
Pretty much. I
Yeah.
mean, we hired a crew to get just to get the shell up,
Mm-hmm.
just to get a roof on it. And that was for about 3 weeks. Framed the outside walls. Anyway, I framed the inside walls myself, and we had friends come over. My dad was over there quite a bit, and um, there were a couple times we had parties. One time when we had a party to put siding on, we put cedar shingles on, and that went really well. It was one of the most fun weekends of my life, probably. I mean, I was a little bit, I was very busy, but
Yeah.
but it was so much fun. We had music and
Yeah.
different people, cooking up food all the time, and
Like a real old school barn raiser.
it
You
was,
really
yeah, people camped out all around the yard, and that was good.
that's very cool. I hear what you're saying, this idea of you want to just know what it's like to do that thing yourself. I'm the same way. I really but only to an extent. There's some things that I definitely let other people do because that's, to me, I can do some other things that I want to do more faster. So I'm okay with someone else building the thing that I live in because then I can do this other thing though. But too many people just sort of skim along that surface and they're just, I feel like a lot of people let the rest of the world be specialized so they can also be very specialized. And they're not interested in seeing how any of the rest of it works. And I don't think that's a good philosophy generally. And I try not to do that because I want to know how it all works, even if I don't have to engage in all of it. I mean, but I'm the same way with the way you are with your house and your property. It sounds like that's the way that I am with food. So we make all our own food because I want to know everything that goes into this and how to make that and how to perfect that dish and all these different things. That's how we've been. You guys must have a pretty decent garden out on that property, be my guess.
Oh, not yet. Anyway,
No?
no.
Oh, see, that'd be the first thing I'd do when I
Yeah.
set up. Oh, Andrea would too. She loves fresh veggies.
Yeah.
What do you do for food then?
Oh, just the average thing. I mean, we go to we have a nice food co-op in Marquette and grocery stores and, that sort of thing. There are some people growing food in this area that we can, at least seasonally get food directly from. But
Yeah, there's supposed to be a big farmers market here, right?
mhm.
We didn't make it this last week, everybody. I'm sorry. No,
Yeah, no,
we
it's
didn't
great,
happen to make it
especially this
there.
time of year.
Yeah, well, but we were just in Holland, just on the other side of the Mackinac Bridge there, and they have a massive, like, they're known for their farmers market, and it
Oh,
was just this. It was totally overwhelming, if I'm being honest. It was really not all that fun because you're just like in this huge crowd of people, like, all right, there's lettuce around here somewhere, and I'm gonna go find it. Um, but I think we'll get out to the Marquette one this weekend. But what do you guys do? What do you do when you get snowed in then? Like you just hopefully have some freezers or something, yeah?
yeah.
Generators?
Well, we don't get snowed in for that long. I
That's
mean,
good.
yeah, I mean, we've never been in for a month or something. I mean,
Right.
so no, it's really not that different from anybody's. Like where we live is not, our day-to-day things are not that different from the average person's routine as far as food and sleep and even Netflix. I mean, we we've been doing that this year anyway, quite a bit, just watching shows that. So it's
Do you have to go into town to download them? Do you have to go up to the hill to
no,
download
we're
them?
able to stream from there. I mean,
That's
not
pretty
every
good.
day, but yeah. I mean, sometimes it gets interrupted, but we're tolerant of that.
Yeah.
It's So,
What kind of things do you guys watch?
oh my gosh, I don't know.
Are you
Uh,
bingers or do you just do like
I am, I'm like a snacking kind of video watcher. So, like, my wife will sit down and watch something for a few hours, but I kind of, and I've always, even, with regular movies, I'm kind of like that. I just, I guess I make up a lot of things I want to do, and so in the evenings, I'm kind of spoken for already.
yeah.
Uh, between the projects on the house, music things, and whatnot. So
You like to keep busy.
I do. I have a lot of things I enjoy to do. So
Do you think that's born out of your curiosity to know how everything works, and so then you have a lot to do to figure it all out?
I suppose partly, yeah, and but partly just because I like to. There, there's just a lot of things I like to do. I mean, I like to um, work in my music studio and make, right, for example, um, and that time just flies there when I'm either
Yeah.
writing something or practicing or um, and yeah, the way that the house we're building now that we live in, we started back in 2008, and there's still many things to finish. So that's another thing lately that uh, I've been picking back up and putting some trim onto a room that didn't have trim yet. So that's I don't know. I get very easily occupied with one thing or another.
Yeah. I get that. So your son just you said your son, right? Just graduated high
Hmm.
school then? Is he got college plans or know what's next there?
He's planning to go to college next year. I think. Yeah, I think here in Marquette at Northern Michigan University, and
Okay.
um, yeah, he's kind of figuring it out right now what he wants to do with that. He's working as a trail builder all this summer. That's coming to a close soon, but
That's cool.
for mountain bike trails,
Oh, that's awesome.
yeah, there's a trail system, uh, including some trails that come up this mountain that we're on, and yeah, it's great that he's been able to do that and work with them.
Did you raise him up on music too? Is he
He's very musical.
yeah?
Yeah,
Does he play guitar too?
a little bit. Yeah, yeah, he plays guitar and bass and drums. It's all, I never, um, I should say, I haven't pushed the
Yeah.
music thing too hard. Although I try to organize some things now and then to keep it going, and but it's hard to be your child's music teacher in some ways. I think
Yeah. I can understand
I don't I don't know why actually. Now that I think about it.
There's sort of well, yeah, it would be natural that you would be, right? I mean,
Yeah, and in some ways, of course, I am, but and I do show him things, and he'll come to me with a question every once in a while and say, "How did you know?" Or, but he's always been a natural. That guy, since he was a baby, he was. I mean, even among our kids, which we have 3 kids,
okay.
and if the other 2 are listening, you're very musical. Also, don't.
Yes, you're doing
You're
fine.
doing. But Moses, our middle son, I remember as a baby, uh, driving down the road, and we're listening to something on the radio that had a kind of a strumming guitar, like
Hmm.
where and I look back, and that baby's strumming his hand as if he had a guitar, and he doesn't stop, and this happened other times too, where he would he'd clap. And sometimes kids will clap a little bit, and they'll kind of lose it after 10 seconds or
Yeah.
so. He clapped through the entire song. He would do this
Yeah.
and to the end, and that's just I've never seen something like that with a kid who just kind of naturally has that constant sort of focus that it takes to be, especially a rhythm section player. I think they really are. They amaze me, that people like him and that can keep it so steady.
Yeah. The episode you listened to, I think, of the show, Brendan Kane, the drummer out in Indiana,
Yes.
super cool guy. Consider him a good friend now, which is the best part of this podcast, of course. Um, he and I were talking a little bit about whether people have it or not when it comes to rhythm sometimes,
Oh,
and how he's had to unfortunately tell people you can't continue drum lessons, or you shouldn't continue drum lessons, because you just don't have that rhythm. It's just not built in.
yeah.
And not everybody has it. And I grew up musically, and so I get it, and I love music. And I still know I couldn't be a drummer. I still couldn't. Some level of coordination there is well beyond my reach. So it's always so interesting to talk to different musicians who have different takes on this. And I had another guy on the show, Marcos Mena, who actually he wrote the music for the Wild Hickson's vlog we're doing now. And he has this really unique style of guitar playing where he's tapping, usually with both hands on the fretboard, and puts together some amazing sounds. And the way he was telling me about polyrhythms and all these things that were just blowing my mind. I feel like everybody comes at this in such a unique way. That's why music is great. That's the expression of the person, the thing that they have within them. I don't know. Maybe that was
Yeah.
too deep. That was way too
Oh,
deep.
no. No, I followed you there. Yeah, no, and to go back to what you're saying about, I'm sorry, I can't remember his name.
Brendan?
Kane? Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, about I liked his response when you said something about that, how, uh, you know, he said something to the effect of how, we all learn to walk, so, and there's a point at which in life, you've even walking takes complete focus, and that lasts for a long time, like years, really.
Right.
And you just keep falling down, and until you can walk and then like have a conversation or whatever. And it's like that, I think, with drumming. And I always say that everyone is a singer. I'm a singer, so I that's where my way of connecting this kind of thing. If this is making any sense.
I'm following.
Is if you can talk, you can sing, and
Yeah.
maybe it doesn't need to be on the radio just yet, but it is a basic human thing that I think could bring joy to anyone.
Yeah.
So I do recommend it strongly.
You got to figure we were probably singing before we were talking, right? I mean, you'd maybe yelling before that, but that would be the first thing you'd do, is recognize that we have this ability to make these sounds, and it's almost like we're singing to communicate something. I mean, I'm even thinking about like great apes here, and how it seems like they're yelling at each other, but it's way closer to what we would consider singing than it is to talking.
Yeah.
It's not a lowered voice, and it's all about the nuance of syllables and where certain sounds you're making mean different things. It's about how loud the sound is means something, or how high pitched the sound is means something. And to me, that would put it way closer to singing.
Sure. Yeah, and if you watch a child learn to talk too, the first sounds they make often, I don't think it's this way with everybody, but are not words, but they will make the music of the speech that they're hearing. They'll take their little dollies or whatever, and they'll say, no,
Yeah.
and there's this music that they're listening to, and rhythms. And that's the first thing that happens. And
Right.
then eventually they get all these concepts get all corrupt
Yeah.
and
So, I think this is we're almost on the edge of the music versus lyrics debate here.
oh,
You know, thinking about for kids, the natural thing is they're picking up on the music. They're not so worried about the concept that it's implying. They're just this is what it sounds like when an adult talks, and so I'm gonna make those sounds as if and they pick that up first. Um, but you are a songwriter, of course, so I should ask you, music or lyrics? I mean, which do you use to build the other, at least?
hmm. Well, I don't know. It they tend to come about uh well, for me the process usually goes like this. The first thing that I hear or conceptualize, whatever you want to call it, uh, is a bit of music with words,
Mm,
and it'll have usually harmony, everything. Um, and then after that, I kind of take that and go to music
mm-hmm,
and develop the music, and then fill in the words.
mm-hmm.
That's sort of that that continue the like if there's a hook or something like that, I might
Yeah,
have just a little couple phrases that have an idea, and then just continue that idea onto the music that's already there, or develop the music and then put the words onto it. So it's usually kind of a back and forth.
so you get these almost fully fleshed out puzzle pieces amidst songs, and you build the rest of the songs, bridging like around those in a way,
That's the way it seems to happen
something
usually.
like that.
Yeah, just yeah. And of course they can change. It's not like the that I don't I try not to be too attached to these ideas
Mm,
and just to you know go for what sounds best or most meaningful or
yeah, that makes sense. You spend a lot of time in nature, from what I gather. Seem like you like the nature vibe. You like living off grid and all those things. Um, and I think that I was reading, of course, your bio and things like that. And it seems like that's some of the ways you describe the music is that there's some inspiration from nature or from natural things that inspires that music. Certainly from this area that inspires some of that music. Um, I don't actually know what the question is here. I think that just is an awesome way to look at things. I really do. I think drawing from your environment, which it seems like for you is outside, and then creating this thing that seems to fit well outside, that you play well outside, that you give an experience to people where they can watch it and they can be with you guys on a mountaintop outside. I think that is incredibly unique. Have you? I guess what I'd wonder is, has that been a natural process for you, or has it been always something where you go outside and become inspired with music?
you know I, it's kind of something I grew up not too far from here, not as far in the woods as I live now, but
Mm-hmm.
there was woods and a river behind my house, and even from a very young age that was my place to go and heal and feel at peace, whenever there's getting kind of hectic in the house with
Mm-hmm.
the brothers and sisters or whatever.
How many siblings do you have?
Two brothers and two sisters.
Okay,
So
yeah, so big family, and you were.
yeah, I was second youngest, and it's it was a wonderful family. I don't it wasn't like an abusive house or any by any means. I have nothing like that to.
No, but it's hard growing. It's hard
But
growing up. I
for
mean,
anyone, yeah, it is a. I mean, it is natural to drive each other nuts.
yeah,
It's
yes, no doubt, no doubt. Even the person that you like the most, which is hopefully someone's spouse, we often don't get along with, do we? I mean, it just is life. We're sort of uncomfortable all the time, and we're trying to hopefully get better and become more comfortable, but we just need a little space sometimes. And for you, that was outside.
yeah, yeah, and so I mean, moving that into my adult life, it's still what I do. I go out when I'm stressed out or just need to wake up
Yeah.
and feel a little dull. Any of those kind of things. I'm very fortunate to be able to just walk out the door and splash my face in a cold creek uh, and I want that. Obviously not everyone can live out in the middle of the wilderness, but I want everyone to be able to connect with nature. It's something you can do anywhere. Um, I I watch birds. There was a little, I don't know what that was that just landed here. And it's something you can do anywhere. Those birds, they land on dumpsters or anything, and
Yeah.
and they're entertaining, and they're always present, unattached to the things, at least to the things that humans are so often trapped by.
Yeah.
I mean, they have their own problems. They sometimes
Yeah.
birds, but it's always refreshing to me to watch uh, animals or even just the more sublime things like the clouds or
Mm-hmm.
the plants.
Or the stars here, man. You guys
Mm-hmm.
have great, great stars. That's been a that's been a joy. I talked about it way too much on the episode I just released today, but we've had such a good time just sitting out at night, and we've been lucky enough to be here during a new moon, and so we can really get some good stars. And Andrew got some good photos, and um, it's it's a really nice thing, and you don't really realize it. I guess I guess it's one of those things that you can too easily forget about, that we're surrounded by all these stars and that we're surrounded by all this nature, and we kind of pretend we're not. And maybe there's something a little messed up about that.
Mm-hmm.
We're all looking down too much. We're not really looking around, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, the stars, and it's a shame that so many places are so lit up that you
Yeah.
don't see the stars too well, and even when it's clear.
Yeah. You strike me as a highly philosophical guy, quite a thinker. Um, you've slipped in some things that make me think you think about this kind of stuff a lot, or you read about this kind of stuff a lot. Is that true?
I guess so. I
The
mean,
nature of
that's
life and
sure. That's been part of my. That's I don't know. It's been both a talent and a little bit of a weakness because I tend to think about things too much sometimes.
mm,
But no, it's that's just the way I am.
yeah. No, I may not sound like it, but I also do that way too much, and I'll get stuck in thoughts. Like I'll be talking with Andrea, and I'll be like, I legitimately need a minute because I am in the rabbit hole, and I gotta get out somehow because I'm thinking about whatever philosophical concept is stupid, but I just get stuck there.
Yeah.
Um, that's but some people don't engage with that at all. That's an interesting thing. I don't think, well, maybe we all do to an extent, but I know people aren't sitting around worrying about the kind of things I'm worrying about.
Yeah, I guess everybody kind of thinks about different things. That that's it's one of the greatest practices I think is tending the garden of your mind. Eh? I mean, kind of knowing when to pull a weed.
Yeah.
I don't need to think that one again.
Well, no, but I
If
mean,
it crops up, well, pull it again. But
yeah, and it's too easy to get distracted now. It's space to think. Like I know there are people who don't take any of that time at all in their day, and even when they
mm,
do, it's nonsense. It's like I'm gonna sit and meditate. Are you really in this room where you've got
mm,
like cars honking their horns out on the street outside? Like I don't know if I buy that you can do that in any surrounding. I think you
yeah,
legitimately have to get to quiet places sometimes.
it sure helps.
Yeah,
Although you can be in a quiet place, I'll attest and have a very loud mind. So
yeah,
and vice versa.
right.
So it does help to have some sort of sacred place, whether that be in nature or in a chapel or anywhere, that does that allows you to be free from a lot of the distractions of just human obsession, I guess.
Yeah.
That we love to latch on to. It's
Yeah.
our nature. It's like, oh, I want to be like that guy, or I want to, uh, I don't know, go outside yourself all the time.
Yeah. Well, it's we do. I think we all have that to an extent, and I think it can be used as a tool. I mean, I would doubt that. I would think you probably get pretty obsessive about things like working on the house and when you were building it and all those things. There's a something, that obsessive nature, that's supposed to allow us to look at tasks that are incredibly difficult, and because we can obsess about them, we can actually become quite good at them. I feel like you hear about how like the one thing that I heard recently was that they're starting to link addictive qualities to someone who would likely. It's possible their brain is made to like be a hunter. Like
Mm.
they're made to be someone who is supposed to obsess over something. It's
Oh,
just
sure. Be
we're
able to like
yeah,
pick
something
up on a broken stick and
right, exactly.
yeah, that's pretty neat.
Yeah. So I think obsessiveness can be good, but you got to harness it. You really
Yes.
have to get it under control, because it's
Yes.
wild. It's wild to just
Yeah. I
um
used to be worse as
on
far as
its
the
own. Yeah.
house goes. I mean, I think when we first moved out there, I wanted it to be like perfectly natural, and I don't know. I had some ideas. Anyway.
You had some like Howard Rourke, Fountainhead-ish kind of visions of the
Yeah.
home.
And so it's just over the years, and partly it's I worked for a few years as like a day job on a as a carpenter
Okay.
on a building crew, and learned a lot from my boss. He would kind of be amused by me and say, "Oh, what you thinking about, Mike?"
Yeah.
Yeah. So he kind of helped me out to see, no, it's these things are not really that consequential.
Mm,
Whether there's a tiny gap in this place or something, and I don't know, or not to think about things so much, but just to do them and then fix your mistakes. And I learned a lot from working with him of things that even apply to music projects as well, where it's a similar kind of craft where you kind of have to just get your plan and go for it,
yeah.
and then look at it and see what else you have to do, instead of trying to plan too much.
Yeah. Which planning too much is really just probably an expression of the fear that you're going to fail on the other side.
Yes.
Instead of saying, I accept that I could fail and probably will,
Yes.
um, instead let me fix that mistake when I get there. Cross that bridge when you get to it, instead of trying to account for everything up
Yeah.
front. Which is probably true in carpentry too.
Yeah.
I don't know
Very
enough
much.
about carpentry. If I'm
No, that's very much.
Yeah.
And you learn that way. I mean, that's you look forward to your mistakes after a point, where it's
Yeah.
like, okay, well, I'm embarrassed and I'm, whatever, but I'm learning. This is how you learn.
Yeah. Yeah. So I love how we're going to these areas, because this is the kind of stuff I think about and want to talk about all day long. But I also I want to know about your music too, because of course that's sort of your main thing. That's what you're about, is the music.
Hmm.
So I saw that you had one album that I at least was able to go and find, but I'm not remember the name of it exactly. But have you been working on new stuff, or you thinking about new albums or anything like that?
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. I have a project in the works. Well, first of all, if I can go back to the
Oh, go
previous
back. That's fine.
that Let It Go album, I sold the copies that I have, and this my sound engineer friend who helped produce that one of the people who helped produce it, uh, he had the idea to remix and remaster that, since he's been doing this sound engineering for years since then and learned a lot and wanted to apply some new things. So that is very nearly complete. So I'm kind of excited to hear the final
That's
product of that.
awesome.
It could be, any day now. We kind of had the final listening session last week and came up with just a couple of different edits, and so I think it's ready to be finalized.
Did you end up re-recording anything for the new versions?
No, no, I thought about doing that, but uh, there's enough there to work with.
Yeah.
We had a lot of information down, and I kind of wanted to maintain the original because we were able to record almost the whole thing in the space of a week. So it has a there were four of us that took the whole week off and just kind of did nothing else. So it has this kind of overarching continuity, and that just comes out of being together for that space, which I wish everybody could have, although I know it's impractical sometimes to do that.
Yeah.
But anyway, so the project I'm working on now is something that this same recording engineer came right over to our house. Ryan Staples is his name, and set up a studio in the house, and we had friends from the community come over to take part, and
Cool.
so we recorded quite a few things, and we're using it. I'll just it has some things in common with the previous one, although it leans more heavily on string parts.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Yeah, and also it's more nature themed. We have
Gotcha.
I used a lot of the songs that I had written in that place because I thought that would be a nice sort of unifying principle for the project to have sort of a home home within nature sort of theme, and so that's what I'm working on now. Hopefully we can get that out by sometime like the spring. I'm shooting for, actually. So
Have you haven't recorded all of it then yet?
right, yeah. There's a couple of songs left for the basic tracking, I think, and then yeah, some other additional stuff that I've been writing to put on to layer on top of things.
Mm-hmm.
So
So the album's all about the nature.
it's at least that's the basic theme. I mean,
Yeah.
it's love songs, and it's
Uh-huh.
uh, there's a couple silly ones, just for fun.
You've got a few songs on there that I felt like you've got obviously a bunch of different styles that you will sing in or play in or whatever, and it's kind of like, is this one jazz or is this folk or whatever? Is the next album the same way in that it's kind of like a mix of different genres?
It is a little bit, yeah. I mean, it's a little more folky.
Mm-hmm.
That suits the theme, I think, of the image of playing around your house.
Yep.
Using, but I don't even know. I'm trying to scan through the songs, but it does jump around a little bit. It's just my tastes are like that, and
Right.
I used to try to argue with that, but I've stopped. And I think this is the day and age where that's not necessary.
Yeah.
I think even 10 years ago, you didn't have musicians doing quite so many styles,
Right.
and being received well, but it's in an age where people are getting polarized by one thing or another, it's nice to know that among music listeners, I think there's more interaction than ever.
Yeah.
Just because there's just so much crossover of cultures, and you hear, like, if you listen to the pop country station, you hear rap, and if you listen, I mean, it's crazy.
Right.
So it's one of the bright sides.
Yeah, that's what music has always done well. I mean,
Yes,
that's what it
right.
does. Is it says, screw these minor differences, and it's always so much bigger. Like good music is always just bigger than its time. That's what it's all about. I don't. Last night, Andrew and I were watching this movie that I love. It's called Pirate Radio. I don't know if you've heard of this, but
No.
it's about the ships in the UK who would broadcast rock music to the UK because it was, I guess, illegal to broadcast it from the mainland.
Wow.
And so there was this whole culture built around these ships of DJs who would go out and be playing music for people, and they're playing rock. They're playing what people want to listen to.
Uh-huh.
It was like, I think they have a stat at the beginning of the movie that it was like half the British population is tuning into these stations every single day.
Wow.
That's because it didn't matter what the laws were or what the culture was or the society was saying.
Uh-huh.
Everybody was still uniting around music. It was still happening. It's a phenomenal movie, I
I'd
think.
like to see that.
Yeah, everybody should check that out. But it that is one of those movies that makes me think about that concept of how the best music of any time is the best because it's completely timeless. It's saying whatever's going on right now is probably stupid, or here's the actual answer that you guys are going to figure out soon. And, it just tells its own story in that way.
Mm-hmm.
You still get the message from it.
Yes. Yeah, no, that's really what probably inspires me most about music is its ability to do that, to connect people.
Right.
Yeah. Time and time again.
Yeah. It's a polarizing time out there, which I don't like. I like people to come together. I think we should be focusing on similarities and not differences. And I think that, it's what is it? It's just hard to see, especially, and I was talking about this in the last episode, especially when we're in the midst of an actual pandemic, an actual crisis, all of us together, they were still finding things to fight about it. I mean,
Yeah, that is disheartening.
right. Hardship usually brings people unified,
Yeah.
and this has been a unique one because it's become polarized.
Yeah.
Shouldn't be an issue. Shouldn't be a political issue. It's a
Yeah.
disease. I mean,
Yeah, it's fascinating.
yeah,
I mean, and this disease it was kind of perfect for the time, perfect wedge because it's not that deadly like that, if 10% of the people died who got it, I think that would have been enough to kind of do that unifying thing, but since it's deadly. There's no doubt about it. And who knows, there's all kinds of evidence of long-lasting effects that we don't know about. I mean, so I don't mean to sound like
no.
I'm not taking it seriously.
Yeah, I appreciate it, but
I
I
think
know what
that
you mean.
the fact that it's not it's not super obvious.
Yeah.
Especially if it's not happening in your yard or whatever, like your field of vision. If you don't know somebody, that it allowed this other whole set of stories to. Wow, it's amazing.
Yeah.
To me.
It's nuanced is what it is. It's a nuanced disease in that we don't have pictures per se of why it's bad. We can't really you need a lot of time and a lot of context to understand exactly what it is as a disease and how it works and who it's going to hurt and all those things.
Mm-hmm.
And then we have to have a lot of discussions about it because it affects other areas of life. So we're saying, yes, the best way to not spread this would be to not go out. But what about our kids who don't get to go to school now? What about what about my college tuition? Are we going to be an online school? I mean, so those things, and then amidst that, we're shutting everybody inside all day long, and we're saying, don't have your communities and the things that a lot of people rely on.
Yeah.
And it
Economy or just sanity. I mean,
right becomes pretty contentious, and it becomes a hard time. This is kind of sad. This is not what I like to think about outside.
We got to process it somehow.
Yeah. That is the good news too. I do think people are going outside. I think people are realizing that that's the safe place to go. You can go walk on trails in the middle of nowhere. People are going to go outside.
Yes. that is one of the bright sides for sure. That it's hard to get a bike. I mean that made me so happy to hear that this
Yeah.
spring when it was like, really?
Yeah.
Can't get a bike? That's awesome.
Yeah. Exactly. Exactly. Because it's safe, and the normal thing I'd do on this day I can't do right now because the bar's closed, the restaurant's closed, or the theme park's closed. Okay. Well, I guess this will have to do. And I hope that, I mean, I have hopes that will reset the dopamine and just make us be like, oh no, outside is actually good enough. Like the extra things that we're layering on top are kind of a lot.
Yeah.
And if you're forced to strip those down, maybe that's a good thing
Yeah.
sometimes. And
Yeah.
hopefully people will be outside listening to your music because it should accompany the outdoors quite well, yeah?
Yeah. 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 Although I don't know. The nice thing about music for if you have it, or any audio really, is if you have an imagination, you can put some headphones on and lie in your whatever bed or any kind of place you have to just sit and listen.
Yeah.
And be transported.
I'm quite glad that you've brought your guitar with you today because I think that means you might play a song or two for us.
I'd be happy to.
Would you grace us with some music there?
Sure.
That'd be lovely. I think if you just pull your mic
Yeah, I can kind of
a bit out of the way, it should be okay. Sure. Yeah, we have the same recorder, but yours is black, which I think is really cool.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a red one too, I guess. Let's see here.
Yeah, you kind of figure out what you...
Probably somewhere in the middle.
Yeah, I would think so. If you need me to come give you a hand, I'm more than happy. This is quite the setup.
Great. Chickadees chiming in. I'd like to play this song. This is kind of a song I wrote. I think it's on that album that I have online there. It is, and I wrote it as a anniversary gift for my wife. And it's called New Love, Old Love. When we first met, dear, I didn't know your name. You seemed like a coffee shop girl from far away. You could have been a runaway, you could have been a queen. You were an open lotus bloom from a pond that I had never seen. Isn't it funny? Isn't it so strange how these pictures seem to end up in frames? 'Cause in a new love, everything's so simple, like a song for the baby, oh, like the sweet smell of a pine. And in a new love, oops, I did that backwards. It's supposed to start with a new. So let's try it again.
I was just enjoying the ride.
Wow. It's that problem of thinking too much. When we first met, dear, I didn't know your name. You seemed like a coffee shop girl from far away. You could have been a runaway, you could have been a queen. You were an open lotus bloom from a pond that I'd never seen. Oh, isn't it funny? Isn't it strange how these pictures seem to end up in frames? 'Cause in a new love, everything's so simple, like a song on the radio, like a homemade wine. Planning an old love, you know where your boundaries are. It's as strong as a steel guitar, and don't it shine? I took all the money that I'd saved in my can. We drove across the night sky to a far-off land. Stared at each other up on top of that hill. We were looking for heaven, and we're looking still. Oh, but the world moves so fast. We gotta let it go just to make it last. So let's have a new love, let it all be simple, like a song for the baby, oh, like the smell of a fresh cut pine. Let's keep the old love, somehow it brought us safe thus far. It gives voice to the steel guitar, and don't it shine? So let's have a new love, let it all be simple, like a song for the baby, oh, like the smell of a fresh cut pine. Let's keep the old love somehow and keep us safe, like the sweet, sweet sound of that steel guitar. And don't it shine?
Oh man, that's so nice.
Oh, thank you.
I'm so glad you played. That was awesome, man.
Oh,
I love that. What are you doing with your voice? You're like turning into a trumpet, doing a trumpet solo. It's phenomenal.
well, thank you.
Oh man, that's awesome.
No, I was a trombone player originally. Actually, that's my first language of music.
Okay, yeah.
And I went to college to study trombone actually, and I had a teacher. Can't remember his name right now. I only had one lesson with him, but I saw him playing in a club. He also went to school there. This was in Kalamazoo at Western Michigan University, and I saw this guy playing in a club, and he played marvelous jazz trombone. And I said, "Can you teach me how to do that?" And the first thing he taught me was to sing, is to study, masters, people like J.J. Johnson, and I'm not very good at name dropping, so I'm going to stop there. And take their solo performances and learn them. But before you learn to play them on trombone, first learn to sing them.
Yeah.
And then learn to write them down. Write them on paper, and then pick up the horn. And I just enjoyed the singing part so much
Yeah.
that I started thinking, maybe I like singing.
That's
Maybe I'll
phenomenal.
take this on, and kind of, that was the beginning of the end of the trombone focus for me, I guess.
They really are kind of closely. Oh, here goes my mic. We're about to lose it. They really do feel so closely linked, trombone and singing. And there's something, I like that concept about it, kind of like, it's almost like wrap your mind around the speed at which this is going to go, and know it backwards and forwards. And when you know it singing, you can know it playing.
Yes, I think that was good advice for any instrument, really, because the subtleties of rhythm are make all a world of difference when you're talking about instrumental playing or speech, I guess, or anything. But especially in music, those I guess it's very similar to speech, really. How we have all these little, how you hear someone with an accent who's lived in the U.S. for 40 years or something, and because that basic rhythm is so much to learn.
Yeah.
We all take it for granted.
Yeah, it has to become instinctual. It has to be muscle memory.
Yeah,
You
right.
just know it. You either
Yeah.
know it or you don't. All right. Can I convince you to play one more for us?
Oh, of course.
That'd be lovely. Let me do the boring stuff first, and then I'll have you kind of take us out for the episode.
Okay.
So first off, if people want to find Michael, you are Michael Waite, Waite music, on Instagram, and they can find you there and follow along. And you're doing the mountaintop. What are you calling them? You have a series name for
Live from the mountain.
Live from the mountain. Perfect. And you're doing some more of those, so keep an eye, and maybe you'll get that antenna put up and be doing them still, even when it gets too cold around here. And I think you can find those at michaelwaitemusic.com. Anywhere else that I should send people, or anything else you want to promote at the moment?
I guess that's the main thing. Yeah. I guess I don't know when this is coming out, so
I think it'll probably be next week, about a week from now, because I've been cranking them out pretty good.
Okay.
Sometimes they get a little behind, actually. They're very rarely like I'm usually ahead on them when I'm doing well. Is the good news. But yeah, so, and then you've got hopefully a new album coming out, so people keep an eye for that in the spring maybe. And as always, people, you can find me at T Hickson Life. And I also, yes, there is a video component to this now as well. So you can find the YouTube channel at just Strangers Worth Meeting. You'll find us, and I have all the links on Instagram too. And I'll also thank our sponsor, Track Farms, for the CBD. You guys rock. And Michael, take us out. Let's do another one for the road.
Okay. Everybody knows the future's coming, and everybody knows the past is gone, but nobody seems to know what's going on right now. But when I'm in my car, the wheels are turning. It's a beautiful thing, a magnificent thing. The gears fold into each other like pretty dancers in a ring. When I'm on the street, my feet are moving. It's a beautiful thing, a magnificent thing. And people going by don't notice the sky. I wonder, can they hear me sing? La-do, la-do-do, la-do-la-do, la-do-la-dee, la-do-do, la-do-la-dee, la-do. 'Cause everybody knows the future's coming, and everybody knows the past is gone, but nobody seems to know what's going on right now. But down by the lake, there's a great big white pine with her toes down in the sand. Now plants can't memorize anything, but somehow they understand the cell, the atom, the Milky Way. The minutes and the hours that fill my day, they don't add up to much if we lose touch with that sweet space in between. Oh, oh, ooh, la la dee doo, la da boo, la da. Yeah, gone. But can you please find out for me what is going on right now?
Thank you very much, Michael.
Yeah.
Lovely to meet you. Thanks everybody for listening. We'll see you on the next episode.